Hello guys. Hope you're doing well. I thought I'd make a video about something that people have been not really been asking about, but I see it a lot on my stream or in my comments. People are like, "How the hell do you do landmines all the time on every job?" Like how is it consistent? I always mess up when I do them. I die. Pulling the monster is a pain, etc. So I thought I might as well do almost like a guide for landmines. It's like going to be a little bit of a guide, but mostly I'm going to show you like good examples of landmines and bad examples of landmines, and then going to try also to help explain like how you're supposed to do them and how you're supposed to understand them. And why are landmines like even more important in EO than they are in POTD and Evil High? It's because since EO's auto attack damage is mostly low, it's very easy for any job, including DPS jobs, to just step on a landmine with multiple monsters on you already, right? So because of that, there's not really any reason not to use them. Well, unless you can't do them or they scare you, which is what this video is going to try to do. It's going to try to make you more comfortable with them, or at least, give you some meat to practice with. So, the very first part of a landmine is the setup, okay? So I know I think people they kind of like skim over that part quite often, including myself. Like before you actually do the act of stepping on the landmine, you gotta assemble the monsters. And by the way, if you don't know what a landmine does at all, the landmine is a trap on the ground, right? It's a trap like the silence trap and the transformation trap, but it's a trap that when you step on it, it will do 75%, around 75% of your current HP. So your current HP, this part is important, remember. So if you're currently at 50% of your HP, well, when you step on the landmine, it'll do 75% of that 50%. And then you might be like, why is that not like, how is that useful? Well, it's because it does the same thing for monsters that are around you. So whenever you step on a landmine, basically everything around the landmine gets hit for 75% of their current HP. So that's why we want to use the landmines. So anyway, back to the actual setup. So how you set up a landmine? I have quite a few examples where we can see the setup, but I'll just use this samurai run to show you how you set up a landmine. So basically, you enter a floor, right? And you're gonna side the floor. So like you decide, okay, I'm going to landmine this floor. You very rarely do a landmine, spontaneously. I mean, you can, and I do it, but mostly you want to do a landmine because you plan for it. So what do you do? Well, you zone to the floor and you're gonna use a side, of course. So now you've revealed all the tiles, right? Now you know all the squares. You still don't know if there's a landmine though. Like some floors you might be unlucky and there's no landmine. So what did you do? You might think that the correct solution is to explore all the rooms, find a landmine, and then use and then once you know, you start the pull. I actually think it's much easier if you just assume there's gonna be a landmine, but you have storms ready, right? So you saw there, I opened my inventory. Just let me rewind a little bit. Storm Commander, if you don't know what it does, it puts every monster at 1 HP, so it's extremely strong if you have monsters pulled on you already. So Storm is a good substitute for a landmine. So there I'm going to plan to do a landmine. I'm not even going to check if there's a landmine, but I have 2 storms, right? You see there? So because I have 2 storms, I know that if there is in fact no landmine, I'll be fine. I'll just storm to make up for it, right? So when you do a landmine, I recommend you use a steel and a strength on any job, honestly, even a tank. And now it's very simple. The way you want to set up a landmine is you want to pull all the easy monsters and then you want to bring them with you for a ride. So what is an easy monster in the context of a landmine? This part confuses people. An easy monster in the context of a landmine is a monster that if you're running away from it in a straight line, it's not a threat. So, for example, these 2 guys, right? The Gulo Gulo and the Tokro Tokro. The Tokro Tokro does a cone, a small cone in front of it, here and there. And the Gulo Gulo, if we exclude the bug, does a cone in front of it. So both of these monsters, if I were to pull them and, just carry them around with me, they would not be a threat. So for example, there I pulled the Toko, perfectly fine. Pull the Rulo, perfectly fine. Because I know that both, neither of them will kill me as long as I keep running, right? And that's exactly what I want to do. I also, now I also know for a fact that there's a landmine there, so I can plan for that, of course. Same for the elephant. I'm going to pull it because it is not a threat if I'm running in a straight line. And then, this room has a Rulo again. I'm just going to pull it for sure. Yep, because what you want to do is you want to have, preferably you want to have enough monsters on you where you'll be able to open the key in one landmine, right? That's the goal. Unless you're scoring and then going for bigger pulls, which I am there. But we're not going to focus on that part. So there I have 4 monsters on me. I'd say you want about 5 or 6 to make the landmine work on average. So the way you want to do it is it's exactly like I said. You pull all the easy monsters you can see. In this case, it's these 4. And then what you want to do is you want to avoid the monsters that are difficult at the same time. So like there, see we have the curl. Curl would be a terrible landmine monster because as soon as you pull it, it'll do a huge cone, which you cannot run away from, right? So I will go out of my way to avoid them, even in the middle of the pull. So see there, I go like, on the opposite side. Now, what would I have done if I pulled, like if I pulled him there and he went to attack me, what would I have done? Witching instantly. Like don't even think about it. If you pull something that is bad for a landmine, 99% of the time, if you do that and you're like, I can maybe manage, you die. So you just want to witching instantly. And then if you witch instantly, then you just try to find the nearest landmine. And if not, you storm. It's that simple. Don't have to make it complicated. So anyway, so I pull all the easy monsters, and now you're going to see this room as a landmine as well. See? So what do I do there? Very easy. Once you find the landmine, this is the room you're going to do the thing in. So I would just basically, I would just go there. I'm just going to continue going there. Then I'm going to give it like a second or 2 for the monsters to catch up to me. Then I'll witch chain when I'm there. And it's going to witch chain all these monsters and also all the monsters on me, right? So there I'm going to have 8 monsters on me. And then that's it. Once that's done, that's the setup. So TLDR for the setup of a landmine, run around, pull all the easy monsters you can see. Let's say, I don't know, let's pull like 4 or 3 or 4. Avoid the monsters that are difficult. And then once you find the landmine room, you're just going to do the witching in that room, which should have monsters in it as well, right? So it's going to add up basically the easy ones you pull plus the ones in the room, which is going to add up to like 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's it. That's the setup for the landmine. And I'm not going to show you the rest of this clip because I actually do something else for score, but that's how you would do the landmine. It in its simplest form. That's the setup for a landmine. And like I said, if the setup goes wrong, which it will sometimes. So for example, there, I'm doing the same thing. I sighted. Now there's a landmine in that room, but I don't want to come back there. So I'm just going to pull, all the easy monsters again. So I'm pulling the Grulos. Now I'm pulling the Unicorn. I don't want this to be an EO guide, by the way. So I'm not going to go like over the monsters like in depth. The Unicorn is okay. So I'm going to pull it. The Thunder Beast, this guy up there would be terrible. So I would not pull it. And by the way, how do you know if the monster is terrible or not for a landmine? You just gotta know, right? There's plenty of guides out there that you can, if you read the abilities of the monsters, you'll be able to determine if they're bad or not. So like you just gotta keep that in mind. So then I'm gonna pull the unicorns because I like I said, they're okay. Like for me, they're okay. And there, see what happens there? Oh, I pulled a monster that's bad. So the Thunder Beast, like I said, I cannot have this guy follow me around for like any amount of rooms. So what am I going to do? I'm going to witching. I'm going to try and get close to as many things as I can. I'm going to witching. And now, as soon as that witching is used, I have 30 seconds to either find a landmine or storm. So in that case, I'm probably going to try and go in, the next room just to see if there's a landmine or not. Though in this case, there's a ninja on me, so I can't do the landmine, even if there was one. And now that's it. I just storm. No, don't have to overthink it. Don't have to feel bad about wasting the storm, because I'm not wasting the storm. I'm wasting a sight, but I'm not wasting a storm. You gotta see it the correct way, right? Like, you're not wasting a storm if you don't find a landmine. You're wasting a site, which is much less valuable than a storm. So anyway, that's how it would look like if your setup went bad. TLDR again, if the setup goes bad, you just want to wait chain. You just want to wait chain, and then you have 30 seconds to decide if you storm. You could even dread, by the way, if you wanted. You could dread, you could storm. Or like find a landmine ASAP. You could even lethargy plus witching again. There's multiple options. The point is you have to witch chain right away before things get out of control. Okay, so that's the setup for a landmine. Now, we didn't even do the whole stepping on the landmine part yet. That's just the setup. But this part is very important. I feel like this is the part that trips people up the most. So definitely good to remember. Okay, so now before I show you the actual landmine, so you may remember I said the landmine does 75% of your current HP. That might make you think, oh, so the landmine can never kill you, right? Because like you could never die from a landmine. And that's the general opinion, is yes, landmines cannot kill you. Well, I'm about to show you something. So this is gonna get very technical, but I think it's very important to understand what's going on there. So this is just in Event High. There's no monsters on me. There's a landmine right there. So landmine does 75% of my HP, right? So it's impossible that I would die from stepping on this, right? Like, logically, how could I die from this if I'm full HP and there's no monsters on me? So there I'm going to Thrill of Battle, and I have food buff. So Thrill of Battle, I think, is like 20% health, and then food buff gives you a little over 5%. So let's say right now I have plus 30% HP than my normal, right? It's still fine. If I step on this landmine, it's going to do 75% of my new value, which is like 23k. So I'm going to step on the landmine. Oh, look, it killed me. The landmine killed me. So do you know why it killed me? Because look at that. I step on it. And this is the technical part, but it's important that you understand this. Once I step on it, my HP is snapshot, right? Like at this moment, as soon as I stepped on it, the game looked at my HP and it said, okay, this guy has 23k HP. We will do 75% of this HP. But we don't do it yet. We do it in just a little bit. But there's a small delay where you're snapshot, but you're not hurt. So there, what I did, I have a macro that removes my Thrill Battle and my food buff. So I lose the extra HP, right? You can see my HP there. It's back to 17. And I still have not gotten damage, but my HP was snapshot. So that's how I died there. Because it did the damage as if I still had my extra HP. And then it killed me. Now you might be like, okay, I mean, that's kind of neat, but like, who cares, right? Like, it's such a niche case. No, it's not actually, because this is how you fail a landmine the most often if you step on it. The first biggest way to fail it is the setup. The second biggest way to fail it is this, but it's sneaky. Like, you won't notice that it's this. And just to reinforce how true that is, I'm going to show you a very obvious example with this concept in practice. In practice. So you're going to see there, I'm going to step on a landmine with very, let's say 50% HP, but look at my health. I'm even going to slow this down for you. Look at my health as it happens. So I'm popping Raw Intuition, which is a thing that heals me when I hit monsters. Now I'm going to proc it. So now I'm hitting. So the heal is just about to happen. But at the same time, I'm stepping on the landmine. So what do you think is going to happen there? Well, what's going to happen is that the landmine is snapshotting my HP at the moment. So it's saying like, okay, so I will do 75% of this HP. But it's healing me, in that little bit of time where the snapshot already happened, but the damage did not happen. It's healing me already. So what's going to happen? Well, look how much HP I'm going to lose from this. I lost 6k. I lost 6k, and I'm at 12,000. So you see, that's what the landmine hit for me. It hurt me that much. I still have all this HP. So that's the power of like understanding the snapshot of the landmine. It's that you don't actually need to be in danger to step on the landmine. In fact, stepping on the landmine with full HP, as tempting as it is kind of not a good idea, especially if you don't have shields. You're at a bigger risk of doing it. And I think this example is very obvious of why this is just good, right? As you can see there, it looks, well, the clip is called landmine heals because it does look like the landmine heals me. And that's with no shield. That's like just healing. Okay, so now that I've hopefully explained it well enough, how the snapshot versus damage works, which TLDR again is simply, it's very simple, is when you step on another mine, it snapshots your HP, and then it does the damage a split second after with whatever value was snapshot, but then in between these two moments, you can actually heal or lose HP. So something to keep in mind. So with this in mind, let's show bad examples of landmines. So like the landmines I did bad with what we know now. So this was, I believe, the clip I showed earlier, but like when I do the actual landmine, which was a score landmine, right? You're gonna see the landmines are very big in my clips, most of them. It's not because you need to do big landmines, it's just because I do big landmines for score. You're going to have way less monsters on you, which are gonna make the concepts of landmines way easier for you. But this is like the extreme. It's a good example. It's gonna be good examples because they're extreme. So you know it's never gonna be as bad as that for you. So there, I'm going to do exactly that. So I like stepping on the landmine when I'm not full HP, like I said, because it's easier. It's gonna hurt me less, but then I still have time to heal, you know? I still have time to cheat the snapshot. So I'm gonna do that there. So my health is getting a little low. So there I'm gonna step on landmine. My health has been snapshot. Now the issue there, what is the mistake I'm doing? Is that my heal is too late. I did not heal at the correct time, so where my HP is actually gonna get spooky. Because it blows up, it snapshot at this, it blows up, and look, you saw it for a split second. Just gonna show it again. You're gonna see my HP dips really low for a split second. See there? 8k. Like this example, like yes, it was badly done, but I still survived because the timing was very close, right? But if my heal was like any later than that, I could have died very easily. There you see my HP, actually it's 8k, and then my second wind goes through and puts me at 18k. So that timing was a little off, so that makes this like a kind of not as good landmine. But if I had like 5 monsters on me or 6 monsters, this would have still been fine because they would just not do enough damage to kill me after stepping on landmine, even if I was at 50% HP, right? So I'm going to show you a very obvious bad landmine now. This one, like the one I showed earlier, this is going to be obvious, this one, what happens there. So this is why it's dangerous to step on a landmine when you're full HP. It's because you don't have... If you step on a landmine when you're full HP, then the snapshot happens, but then you're going to get hit for your... Like you have no opportunity to heal in between the snapshot and the damage because you're full, right? So that's exactly what's going to happen there. You see I'm going to step on the landmine. Even though I'm queuing up heals, it's going to kill me one shot. Because I had no time to heal between the snapshot and the landmine, and then it just so happened that another attack, well, 2 auto attacks happened at the same time. So it just killed me that fast. And that's why it's as tempting as it is to step on a landmine with full HP, it's kind of what you don't want to do. Unless you have like a pretty fat shield. So see there? Like there's not much I could have done there by doing it in this manner. Just look at that. Like the first auto attack goes like right there, just before the landmine damage, which is then followed by another auto attack right there. You know, these three. And it's not even like a tenth of a second of time between all this. So if I had stepped on this landmine with 50% HP, I could have very easily queued up a heal as I was stepping on it just after the snapshot. It would have brought me back to 80%. Then the landmine would have done 75% of my old 50%. And then both auto attacks would have happened, but I would still be healthy. Well, not healthy, but I would be alive after all that. So yes. So yeah, that's bad landmines. It can still work when you do a bad landmine, especially if you're like, you know, like there you can do a bad landmine like that. Like there's no recovering from that. But the one I showed earlier, this one, it was very close, so it was recoverable, right? So I'm gonna show you good landmines, you know, because I have some of them too. So this is Summoner on my floor 44. So this one's a good example of a misstate turned into a, well, it's, so I was planning to do a landmine there, but as you can see, I have no resource. My shield's down, and my potion's down. And so I don't have much options there. So there I'm going to do something which makes sense. I'm going to do two things. I'm going to step on the landmine with low HP, because I want the landmine to do as little damage to me as possible. And I mean, I don't even have an opportunity to regen my health anyway. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for the monsters to walk up to me, all of them. I'm going to wait to see like a bunch of auto attacks, and then I'll step on the landmine. By doing that, I'm going to make sure I don't get, you know, wombo combo by like both landmine damage and auto attacks. Because that's how the game works. Like if things happen on the same stage, they just add up together and you'll die. You'll explode, right? So then I'm going to wait to see a lot of auto attacks. See, I'm patient. Oh, there we go. And now I step on it. And now you might be like, wow, you have 7k, that's crazy. How did you not die? That you're lucky? No. It's just I waited the auto attacks. So now they're, you know, they have to recover the auto attack cooldown. And now I can just burst them down with kiting. The power of kiting. So just to show you that again. Landmine. I'm about 50% HP. I'm patient. I wait. I don't step on it. Don't panic. I just wait to see like all the auto attacks. There they are. Then I move. That's just the way it works, by the way. When you have like multiple monsters on you, and especially if they're witched, they're going to all attack you around the same time because they're, you know, they all reach you around the same time. So yes, good example of a landmine. Good example of waiting for auto attacks. That's all things you can apply in your, like, you know, like this is of course a crazy landmine that you're never gonna do, except if you score. But like all these concepts of waiting for auto attacks, stepping with like 50% HP, stacking up the heals, shield, it's, you can do that on your, you know, a 6 monster landmine. It's just it's easier for me to show it in extreme examples. But you can apply it for the smaller landmines as well, very easily. So I'm going to show you an example of a landmine low HP. I don't know what I mean by this. Might as well show you the setup for this one. So again, like I said, I just sided the floor. I don't know if there's a landmine. I have storms ready. Now I was just bursting this guy down because he's annoying in AoE pulls. So there I'm going to just carry monsters around with me. Easy ones. Now the luring is unnecessary. That's for scoring. And then I'm still looking for a landmine. There's one there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to... You may have noticed this. I don't want to talk too much about this because I might make a witching video one time. But whenever I get into a dead end and I have monsters like on me, I'm going to do like a loop, right? You're going to see me do something like that. I'm going to do in the room on the side. Then I'm going to loop around and I'm going to witch chain when I'm around there. And the reason I'm doing this, by the way, is because by doing this little loop, it lets the monsters that are after me catch up. Because if I just do this and then witching there, the monsters that are catching up to me, they might be out of range of the witching, right? So that's the reason I always do this little loop and then witching. That's the reason. So that's exactly what I do there. A little loop, go back in, and then witch chain. Yeah. So this is a landmine I'm going to do with low HP. So I have a shield, but I'm, even if I have a shield, I would rather step when I'm low HP because then it gives me, it removes less of my health. Then I'm going to step on it, potion at the same time, and there, just like that. Potion did, just like that. The onion heal kind of cheated there a little bit because it healed me at the same time, but as you can see, the landmine itself did very little damage to me there. So only 13k. So it snapshot, when I had it snapshot there when I had my shield on. At 28k plus I had my shield. But then I heal with a potion at the same time. So I have another example. I have 2 more examples for you guys. I mean, examples are just the best teacher, I guess. So I'm not going to show the setup for this one because I don't want to show the setup for every single one. I'll show the setup for the bard though, the last one. So there, this is a very spooky landmine. You're never going to do something of this size, but I'm going to apply all the techniques I just showed there. Same thing. I mean, might as well show the whole technique. So there's a lot of monsters after me, so I'm going to go inside of there. I'm going to do this little loop around again, just to let the monsters catch me, and I'm going to witch in around there. This is the part of the witch chain where you are going to take the most damage, by the way. So if you have defensives, you use them now. So I'm doing the loop, I'm doing the witch chain. Now I'm going to let them soften me up a little bit. I shielded there just to... that shield was too early, but it's still going to be fine because I'm going to step on a landmine. I'm going to queue up my heal. Now I'm at 34k. So it's doing the damage as if I had 34k, but I use my potion. You see it's on cooldown? It just didn't trigger yet. Now you see it there, but still not applied. So see, landmine did 27k, which should put me at 7k, but look at my HP. 11k. Why is that? Because the Aper potion healed me at the same time. See, I would have died if I didn't do that there. You would not die on a smarter landmine if you failed that. But in that extreme example, it saved me. The Aper potion healing me between the snapshot and the damage saved me there. So perfect example of how much you can push a landmine if you understand the snapshot things about it. Like this is only with basically a super potion, and my shield was just badly done. This was basically just a hyper potion. Like every job could do what I did there. It just gets easier the more defensives you have. And then for the last example, I'll show you like I showed mostly extreme examples there. I'll show you like a pretty reasonable example on Bard. Because this was before I started scoring the jobs. So there I sided the floor. I see there's a landmine there. So in my head, I'm like, okay, there's a landmine there. If I really found no other landmine on the floor, I could bring the monsters back there after. So I'm going to pull everything that's kind of easy. I'm just going to pull the bird. Bird is the easiest one for EO, definitely on the landmine floors. By the way, you of course want to keep your regen potion rolling during all that when you're cutting away. So I'm just going to pull more monsters. Pulling the bear. Probably going to pull the 2 birds as well. Now there's a landmine in that room. And there's a bad patrol coming. So I have 2 choices there. I either try to go past it and see what's up in this room. Or I go by the landmine and I witch chain. And then I'll kill a patrol, in the witching. Like basically if you pull a bad monsters, you have about 3 seconds to witch chain and then do something. So now I don't actually remember what I do there. So there I take a little less safe option. I check the other room and there's a landmine in that room. So definitely this is where I'm gonna witch chain. So I arrived in the room where I'm gonna use the landmine, which is the room where I'll witch chain. So these monsters are just plus, right? They're just added up to my pool. So these could be dangerous monsters. I don't care because I'm witching them instantly. So I'm gonna witch chain. Now I do the same thing. I'm quite low, so I'm just gonna be making sure my regen's rolling. Any defensives I have. Gonna step on a landmine and then do my second wind or potion. You can't use both at the same time when you do the trick. It's one or the other. I'm gonna use one of them. I don't know which. So there, see, I'm being patient. I'm doing all the things that I thought about. Just show it again. Making sure I'm not wasting my heals before. Waiting for the auto attacks. So see there were like 4 auto attacks at the same time. You know, like all of them happened quite at around the same time. So that's my cue for like, okay, landmine's ready. So I'm gonna step on it. I step on it. At the same time, I heal. That timing, by the way, you're gonna get used to it, but as much as it is important to understand the snapshot, it's not that important to actually get it like perfectly every time, because if you stay in bad HP for like 0.2 seconds, it's not really gonna matter in these smaller landmines. So there it blows up. So my health was snapshot around 30k, so this should do around what, 24, 23, around 23, I think. Yeah, 24. See, so we did 24 there, but then my health doesn't make sense because 30k minus 24 should be 6k, but I have 17. Why is that? Because my potion healed me in between the damage and the snapshot again, making this very safe. And you know, after that, once it blows up, now I can use my other healing tools. That's why I keep them. Because if I blow them before, you know that's kind of the point. Because if you don't understand the snapshot mechanic, then yes, you might be tempted to step on the landmine with full HP. The thing though is you're not gonna be full HP because you're pulling the monsters before that. So like if you use all your heals before, all that's gonna happen when you step on landmine is you're gonna lose 75% of your HP, and then you're gonna die in like 5 seconds because there's too much damage incoming, right? So that's why we do it this way. But as you could see, now it's fine. And now we just finish off this pull in AoE. And by the way, if you're doing an AoE pull with a witch chain, you took a long time to set up, they might actually pop out of the witch chain before you're done. In that case, I recommend you just witch chain again. Unless you get very comfortable, I recommend you just witch chain again. It's not worth taking the risk if you have a witch chain to spare. You couldn't even lethargy, right? You have multiple options. So yes, I would say this landmine. I'm gonna show it again because I think this is by far the most. I think this is the best example that is not an extreme example. So just an application of all the mechanics. So I'm just gonna show it again, pulling the easy monsters. So it's like birds, bears, unicorns, maybe elephants are okay as well. And then we just run around. We pull these. If there's no landmine, I'm not gonna sweat it because I'll just storm. And now we get to this room, and we're like, we know there's a landmine, you know, around there. So we could use it, but then I decide, okay, I want to check the other room before. And I could witch in there because the patrol is bad, but if I witch instantly, then you don't care if something's bad because you're gonna witch it. And now this room is the landmine room I'll use, so I don't care what the monsters are inside of there. I'll just witch them right away. And then I get into position to do the witching, do a little loop. I witch. Now I wait for them to auto-attack me. Most of them did. Step on a landmine, queue up the heal, heals between the snapshot and the damage, and then we finish off the pull. Just like that. And I would say that's about it for what I wanted to talk about for the landmines. So I wish I could have made a little more of a, actually structured guide, but that's the best I can get. That's the best I can do in my current editing skills, which are none. So, but I hope this was helpful to someone. I mean, even if you didn't quite understand the whole snapshotting thing, I think this last example, Bard, which is this is just my latest Bard run on my channel, and this is floor 73. I think this is the perfect example of what a landmine should look like every time. Like, this is just textbook example. Everything else was just kind of the extreme to show it off, you know, show the mechanics well, and then, you know, I'll add my examples as well. But anyway, I hope this was helpful to you, and if it was helpful, make sure to let me know in the comments. I mean, the more positive comments there are with these kind of small, like, you know, bite-sized, like, quote-unquote guides, the more of them I'll make. So anyway, I hope you guys have a good rest of the day. That'll be it for me. Have a good one. See ya.